Today we're going to discuss how to earn a 500% return per week trading cheap options on expiration days with high delta using MSP ALGO artificial intelligence trading bot. This is for experienced traders that are familiar with trading options. As you know, the closer to expiration date that the option get, normally the higher the delta will be. So that means that the price of the option will emulate the movement of the stock more accurately. So in order to implement this 500% return per week, there are some options that expire more often than others. So we know on Fridays, most options expire on Fridays, but we have ETFs that expire on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we're focusing on trying to trade these options a day or in advance of the expiration or on the expiration day using measured move alerts, okay? And the advantage to this method is that the options are cheap. They're normally cheap, and because they're about to expire, and they have high delta. So if you want to maximize your returns without having to play lottos, we're going to show you a great way to make a 500% return per week if you could trade that, let's say, SPY on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or one of those days or more, two of those days, and show you how you can easily get a 500% return minimum per week. You could actually do this in a day, get a 500% return per day, but I didn't want to say per day just in case if the market makers or the institutional traders are going to force price to go into the accumulation or distribution phase. So we may not get is that move, but if the stock move, it will be easy to do it in a day. So in a nutshell, we're going to say how to earn a 500% return per week. Okay, so now I pull up my application, MSP ALGO Artificial Intelligence Trading Bot, and I am currently looking at the alerts log. So I did a search for SPY, and let's say the market didn't open yet. So in order to implement this strategy, you need to be trading on a 10-minute time frame, and you need to be looking for measured move alerts. Why? If you didn't watch the video about how to trade measured move alerts, please do so, and to get up to speed before watching this video. But if in a nutshell, it means that a spike is about to occur within the next 10 to 20 minutes, and you'll be able to take a real quick scalp trade that move quickly, okay? So as the market opened up, we'll look at our chart now. And this is on the 5th of July, and we can see that price is going up here, and that's about $7.50. So we're gonna go in and forward it on to closer to the market open. And we're not trading, we're just focusing on measured move alerts. So we want to see what the chart looks like when that measured move alert came out at 10:50. So that's 10:30, 10:40, 10:50. So at 10:50, we saw a measured move alert. So now we're interested in taking a trade. So we're gonna flag that candle. Okay, it wasn't 10:50, it was 10:40. I wanted to check on that. So that was at 10:40. So we're gonna go in and flag that so we know without having to go back and forth. So this is actually the time right there, 10:40. So at 10:40, we got an alert that probably a few minutes after, we got an alert at 10:40 that something is going to happen. We're going to have a spike, okay? So we know the rule with looking at the last candle and what type moves normally happen. But before we do that, we want to look at some other things. So let's go on and just say we just got our alert. It looks like it's gonna bounce. I see a little pivot there. We could see that this is in a downtrend. Okay, well, let me look at the application for some assistance. So we already know the per point of this is just the log, so we could look at a variety of different symbols simultaneously to move in on that alert. And then we could drill in by going to the application. So here I am. I'm just interested in measured move alerts. I have a small account. I can't be in and out constantly. I probably could be in and out about 2 times, 3 times, and that's all the money I have for the day until my account clear the next day. So I'm not looking at taking as many trades as possible. I'm just looking to see if we get any measured move alerts. I know it don't come out every day, but I'm looking to see if one come out today so I could take a trade and get a quick scalp, okay? So that alert came out right here about 10:50. And I could see based on the order flow, there's a little bit more selling. But I could also see that within that selling, I see some buy blocks with some volume to it. And I see some sell blocks. What was the last alert here? Pop to drop. So it looked like it popped, and it's in the drop. That was a scalp alert here. We had a fire alert, and it said that a support or resistance level was being created at 272.42. So let me go back to my chart and put that support and resistance level on my chart. I'm going to grab a horizontal line so I could gauge where this accumulation or distribution zone was being created earlier today, because I wasn't watching the market, you know. And I could see that it was early in the day and prices far away from that. So it's obviously resistance. So I got that much information. So now I'm going to go back to the application, and I want to look at the cheat sheet. We know that the cheat sheet has support and resistance levels and recommendations for what type options you could buy, whether it's a long, a call, or a short, a put, for based on the daily charts. But I'm not really here for that. What I'm here for is I want to look at MSP pin ALGO and get an idea of where the pin for today may be. I understand it's a Thursday, but the logic to this, it kind of works every day most of the time. I'd say about 90% of the time. We'll see. I didn't really pre-do this. So we saying 271.25 to 272.50 is where SPY MMs don't want to close in that range. So let's go back to the chart, and so we know 272, and so we see this is pretty much the range where they didn't want to close. It's up here, right? So they're already out that range. So most likely, it just depends. They may want to avoid this range today. Okay, so I know based on this price action, normally price try to retest this candle here where the alert came out, and if it could break out, it's going to go higher, and if it cannot, it's going to go lower. I know that. Okay, so now I need to start seeing what that candle looks like. So let's go. That new candle is out, and unfortunately it can't get increments of this time frame, but we do know that 10-minute, unless I go to the 1 minute, but we do know that price is going to try to retest the high of this candle, and if it fails, it's going to tell us the direction, right? We know that. So we see price is still a green candle, let's say, but we starting to notice this little wick coming, and so that's on that 1040 candle. If we look at our application, that 1040 candle isn't done yet, so we'll have to look at that 1030 time frame. So what we see is constant selling. We see the HFTs are selling, and we see that price is below the accumulation or distribution zone that got started at 9/29/30. It says this is an accumulation or distribution zone was being created, and it will become support or resistance. Sometimes these could come out and they could chop it for a little bit of time. So I wasn't really interested in that. So let's pretend a momentum alert didn't come out. And so now I have and I could see a lot of volume on the sell side. And based on looking at that candle that's being created, it looks like it's a short opportunity on the retest of resistance. So now I'm going to short, and I'm going to see what the support and resistance level is for the day. And I could see price broke support. So I'll look at my internals here at this 10:30. And I could see 2171.76 was resistance by the red. I could see prices steadily going down. So I'm thinking I need some puts, okay? Okay, so I want to be in the money. So price is at 271.50. I noticed that by looking at the chart and waiting for the movement of the candles based on the logic that we have, that price here normally price flush, then retest the last resistance level. So I watched it pop. Let's go to the other side here. We'll do a 1 minute. I like to drill in. If my main time frame is 10 minute, then I'll go in and look at the 1 minute. If my main time frame is a 1 hour, then I'll look at the 10 minute. If you get the point. That way I already know what I'm trying to do. And so here, the crosshairs are in sync here. We're going to make this a little smaller. So this is, so we could see, this is the 1040 candle here. So on a 1 minute, this is the 1040 right here. So and that's when this ends. So we know price is going to try to retest the candle that it came out on. Okay? So based on looking at the 10 minute, we know that it's going to try to retest this 271.72. Let's see what happens. Met a little resistance there. It did retest it. Notice it retested. See the price? So it retested that 271. So I'm waiting to see if price is gonna get rejected. Okay, so now as I wait, and I see this initial rejection here, but normally I like to wait to see if it's going to retest. Okay, but we know it's trying to target this 271.71. So if that's too much noise for you, you could go to a 5 minute. And it's a lot less noise here, okay? So the measure move alert came out here, and we see prices trying to, well, it actually came out within these few candles. So we know the high of that candle 271.70, so we could go in and draw a line here for that 271.70, so we don't have to keep guessing or trying to remember. Okay, let's watch the show. So you got to try to break out. If you break out, I expect you to go higher. If not, you're going to jump. So I'm watching it, and I notice they're selling. So I take the trade. I notice it try again, it's selling. So I go take that trade, and I'm just trying to get a little scalp. I'm thinking that based on this 271.70, I could get a price to at least go to next support. So that's 271.3 on my 10-minute chart, my 10-minute fibs. I told y'all how to create your fibs. If you didn't watch that video, it's a must thing to do, so you always know where support and resistance is if it breaks the support in the app. Okay, and so we entered some, we want to be in the money. Okay, so we got some 272 puts. Okay, we just rounded it up because we want to try to get as high delta as possible. We probably going to be hitting about 80 to 70% delta, which means for every 70-80 cent the stock move, our options going to move with it, because these options expire on Friday. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So we know it pulled back. We short. We know, we see it pull back. It's when everything the normal price action do. And so now what happened is this pivot came here, and we need to get out of our trade. We hit our target, and we got to be cautious of buying. One thing you could do is just wait for that pivot, or once you hit support, price can reverse even though it breaks support, right? So you already had a decent trade here. You got a short from about 270 to 230 in less than 10 minutes, because that candle is still being created, right? 5 minutes. And then it flushed even more. You got to be ready to get out your trade, okay? And so we really don't have any new data yet because this moved that fast. So at this point, once your target get hit, let's say you bought some puts and you paid 25 cents a contract, which would be equivalent to $25 a contract, and price dropped 50 cents in 5 minutes, your puts are probably about 35-40 cents a contract. Okay, so that's about 15 cents. If you got lucky, you doubled up. because the key to trading options is the faster price move in the direction that you intended to go, the faster the IV is going to go up, because you got the options when there was no demand for those puts, because there was demand for the calls. So the IV was cheaper than it normally would be. So not only are you earning money on the move, you're earning money on the premium when you sell it, because now there's demand. So it's always good to try to get out of your option before price reverse and find support. So you want to make sure that that candle is gonna stay red. You want to sell on a red candle. So what I would do is, if I had 50 puts, I would have sold probably 30 of them, and nothing told me to get out that trade. I would have drilled into my smaller time frame to see what is going on in this candle, and is price trying to find support. Okay, and looking at a 1 minute, this is one way to do it. These move so fast that the other 10 in this particular scenario, so we need more data, and we just didn't get that yet. So here go to 1 minute. We could see where the alert came out. We was waiting for which is here, so we know it had to retest this 271.70 here candle. It tried to retest. We're looking for failure. It met that resistance level, and we're looking for failure. We see failure, we short. We think we could get this pivot here near that 271.41, and it flushed even lower. So we're all, as you could see, we're still in this candle, which has 10 1-minute candles. So now we could see that price did stop dropping, and we kind of wait a little bit, and it's holding too long. We want to be out of that trade. Okay, and we got out of that trade before this candle actually was created, because we know that even though price broke support, most of the time the big boys buy below support, right? Or people may say, ooh, it's a good deal, it's below support. So we know we're at risk at this point. In actuality, it almost made it to next support, 270.85. So from 271.74 to 270.96 in 10 minutes is an excellent trade. So that was one trade, right? Let's see what happened with the candle. And so we took our we almost got 100% return with that. So we cashed out 50%, 100% in less than 10 minutes. Now we're looking for another trade, okay? So we cashed out, cash out, cash out. The secret to success is drilling. Because sometimes these moves move so fast, is to drill in and to a smaller time frame. And you must be on these 10-minute time frames to trade these spike alerts, momentum spike alerts, okay? So let's see if any other alerts came out. So we could see we got one at 11, 11:10, 2:10, 2:40. So we got one here. Let's see what happened. To 240. Okay, let's go in and put some, track those. So that was 11, 11, 10. So 11. Oh wow, we caught the bottom. So we got 11 o'clock, and then we got 11:10. So now we got another one. So then we got that 11:10. So you can see, then we got the 210 to 240. And same concept. You need to go a little bit more. To 10. To 40. So I'm not saying you had to take each trade, you know what I'm saying? It's just the key I'm realizing with this is it likes what it does when it does this. Some I see run to the moon. I'm not gonna say I don't. I do. I've seen them. They do their little baby thing and they run to the moon. But the only difference is they all do seem like they do the same thing. They create a bucket. I'm gonna say. A what, Sam? I don't know what to say. A bucket. I guess there's no bucket patterns here. Jayden View, what's up with you? You know I love your site. Honestly, I love this. They don't pay me anything. I love their charts. All right. What's that? I don't know what I'm doing here. It seems like it creates something like this. I guess a box. The alert comes out. It's a horrible example. I agree. Okay, so what I'm noticing about these alerts, it don't matter if it goes higher or lower. It's all based on the initial candle where that alert came out. And this candle is the basis of what the next move is going to do. And they normally pull back and then retest that resistance. And we saw in a prior video the flush or whatever. But anyways, this is what I noticed it'll do. It'll make sure I got a little paintbrush here. Down, retest, if fail, down, if not, run. So you could see how you can easily make a killing playing specifically for SPY is what I'm talking about. Playing options that are going to expire the next day, okay, or that day, but you got to really be careful of the day of expiration. But if you trade momentum alerts, it shouldn't be an issue, okay? So the main thing is you avoid chop. You know when you get in that trade that it's gonna move, okay? So we could see you're not looking for it to move $1 million. You know, 50 cents on SPY, $1 on SPY is big money, okay? So we know we got the flush. This is what I normally say. Flush, retest. If it retests and break out, it run. So you had two trades here. You had the short, you had the long, so you already had two trades. You got a small account. You pretty much done for the day. If you got just a little bit more, then so now you took let's say you spent 500 and you made 250 there, and you spent another 500 and made 250 there. Now your account have 1500 just on two trades. So let's look for another trade. So that's what you spent. So it's based on what you spent. And so now we see there's another measured move alert here. All right, so you could really see the depth of these moves on the 1 minute. You can look at the 1 minute if you want to as well, but it's always good to gauge that 10 minute. So we could see we got the flush, and then another alert came out. So in reality, you could have been in your trade. You could have been trying to ride this trade. So you got to move from, you got a small account, you got to move from 271.72 to 270.94, and you got out of that trade. Then another alert came out, and you know that based on how this price action works, you already know it's gonna, that's what I was trying to find. It goes back to that price in the future. Okay, so we got confirmation because we see that we got another alert. It did its little flush on it, and it went to retest. It's a breakout, and you just write your trade. So now you took two trades, you made a 50% return. You made $250 on this one trade here, and you write in your trade nothing really told you to get out. Now it's like 12 o'clock, and so you got to trade from like 271 to 272.71. So now on this trade, you made a 300% return. And it took you 11 o'clock, so another hour. So in less than 2 hours, you got a nice return for the day, about 350 to 400%. And like I said, you could do a 500% return per day, but the thing is, it has to move for that. If it's going to be range bound, you may not get the distance to get that move. So you had the short, the other measure move alert came out, and you had the long. So that's how you can make a serious return every week with a small account. What's a small account? I'm thinking a small account is about $2,500, the minimum that they say to put into your account. And if you have one smaller than that, then you probably would take a lot longer to get that sort of return per week. But you get the general idea of how you could use momentum alerts to earn a 500% return per week trading cheap option on expiration days with high delta using MSB ALGO artificial intelligence trading bot. We're going to go over some other exciting opportunities to trade, but in the meantime, happy trading. Goodbye.